Hello everyone, welcome to today's video where we will be talking about Earth, more specifically its biomes. Earth is home to so many amazing complex ecosystems from forests to deserts to everything in between, and today we're going to talk about all those different ecosystems and biomes and which ones you can see in Pennsylvania. So first things first, what is an ecosystem? An ecosystem is an interaction between plants and animals, living things, non-living things in a specific setting. So like you can see here, the sunlight interacts with the trees and the trees feed the animals, and they all like help each other in their little cycle here, in their own little area. So an example of an ecosystem would be like a coral reef that we see here, and we can see the sunlight interacting with the coral and the fish interacting with the coral, and it's a self-supporting system. But a backyard would also be an example of an ecosystem, and a pond is also another example. And biomes, which is what we're going to talk about next, can be made up of multiple smaller ecosystems. So in this picture, we see different types of biomes, and the definition of a biome is just, it's measured on a larger scale than an ecosystem. It describes a larger community made up of smaller, similar ecosystems categorized by vegetation, soil, climate, that all fit into a certain category. And the 5 major ones are aquatic, grassland, forest, deserts, and tundras. And as you can see across the marine and freshwater are aquatic biomes, and we have the savanna and the grassland as grasslands, and we have the desert biome on the middle left, and across the top we have all the different forest biomes. So as we've seen, aquatic biomes include freshwater and marine biomes. A freshwater biome is a body of water that's surrounded by land, so like this lake for example, but it can also be a river, as we see here, and these are freshwater biomes because they all have very low or no salt concentration. A marine biome is an ocean, as we see here. Oceans and marine biomes cover over 3/4 of the Earth's surface. And in marine biomes are ecosystems like coral reefs, as we can see here, which are very pretty and very full of life. And we also have what's called an estuary, which is a place where the river meets the sea, and the 2 types of water, salt and fresh water, mixed together. These ecosystems are very delicate, but they're very important for habitats and as breeding grounds for a lot of animal species, as well as for filtering water before it goes into open ocean, which is very important for maintaining the health of our ecosystems and biomes. The next biome that we're going to talk about is a grassland, which is an area that's mostly open, full of grass, usually warm and dry. The types of grasslands are tropical and temperate. And tropical grassland, which we can see here, which is called a savanna, are the driest and the closest to the equator, and mostly dry grass with, like a few trees. Savannas are mostly in Africa, like this example, but they're also in places like Australia, India, and South America. More temperate grasslands, like what we see here, don't have trees and are just a different type of grass, which are further from the equator in places like South Africa, Argentina, and North America. The third biome is the forest biome, the ones covered in trees that are on 1/3 of the Earth's surface. A lot of the world's biodiversity in both plant and animal life is found here. Forests can be one of 3 types: temperate, tropical, and boreal. Tropical forests, like what we see here, I'm sure you've heard of the Amazon tropical forests, are close to the equator and are super warm and humid. And then we have temperate forests, like this one, like the ones we see in Pennsylvania, that are further from the equator and cooler but still experience all 4 seasons. And they have a wide variety of life as well. And then the last example, we have boreal forests, which are even further from the equator and are super cold and dry, and instead of rain, they get snow. And then we have the 4th biome, which is the desert, and deserts cover approximately 20% of our surface, and to qualify as a desert, an area has to get less than 20 inches of rain over the course of the entire year. Deserts are very extreme, and therefore they house very little life. They have specialized plants and animals that live and adapt to these conditions, but it doesn't have the wide diversity that forests tend to have. The 5th biome is the tundra, the coldest biome out of all of them. as we see here, the average temperature in the tundra is negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit, and they aren't very good hosts to plant life because of poor soil. Tundras can be one of two types, Arctic and Alpine. Arctic tundras have what is called permafrost, which is a permanently frozen layer under the first soil layer, and this is an example of an Arctic tundra, and this is permafrost. It's been melting more and more due to climate change, so as ice melts, the permafrost melts as well. And then alpine tundras are found north of the boreal forests, as we see here, and they're way high up on mountains or high altitudes where trees won't survive. And animals here have to adapt to these conditions, such as mountain goats, which have short, strong legs that help them to thrive and climb these mountains and survive these conditions. So what do we see in Pennsylvania? Forests are by far the most abundant ecosystem type in Pennsylvania, with forests covering half of the state, which is 16 million acres of forest cover. They're deciduous forests, meaning that the trees shed their leaves every year, and there's a beautiful picture of them here. Some of the other biomes we see in Pennsylvania are grasslands and open areas, such as, farms, but also just open areas. However, these areas are shrinking as people move out of cities and into urban areas at the rate of about 90,000 acres per year, which we can see here is the distance from about the tip of the Chesapeake to Lake Scranton, Pennsylvania. They also have wetlands. We also have wetlands, areas like lakes, rivers, etc., which are very important to prevent flooding, clean our water supplies, and as habitats for animals. They're important habitats for one of Pennsylvania's endangered species called the American bittern, which is a fish. And Pennsylvania has around 2,500 bodies of water, including man-made ones, but still very impressive. Rivers in the state include the Ohio, the Susquehanna, and the Schuylkill.